We are Steven and Jill. Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. Steve and Jill here.
Ho, ho, ho.
Welcome to the Land Academy Show, entertaining land investment talk. I'm Steven Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill De Wit, coming to you this Christmas week from sunny Southern California.
Today, Jill and I talk about scraping data for mailer. For your mailers, the pros and cons.
You're all business and I'm all into the holidays.
Yep. For the last decade, that's how it's been.
Yep.
I think holidays
Careful.
disrupt
Oh.
revenue streams.
Well, in the old days, this would be a high retail year and it would make revenue streams.
There's something about this holiday, at the end of the year, it just becomes a 2-week thing. Versus whatever other holidays that you're into, Easter or Thanksgiving, it's like that day, and maybe if you're a cool employer like us, it's like you take the day off after that, so it becomes a long weekend. But this just is, it's a 2-week thing. Jill's right, it starts right about now.
The good thing is, if you haven't experienced before, in our business, flipping land, when people are home on their computers with nothing to do and they're tired of their family, sometimes they spend money on dirt. Just saying.
Yeah,
it has happened.
Okay.
It has happened.
December is not historically our best month by any stretch.
It has done okay.
Today's topic, we already talked about it. Before we get into it, let's take a question posted by one of our members on the landinvestors.com online community. It's free.
Ellen asks, hello, everyone. On a recent episode of the Land Academy podcast, Jack mentioned something about how investors shouldn't be buying land in Apache County, Arizona. Would he or anyone else be able to give some more information about why? I'm a virtual assistant. One of my clients is a land investor.
Okay, hold on.
This is funny. Want me to keep going?
Ellen, is a virtual assistant for one of the land investor or Land Academy members.
Right.
She handles sales and go ahead.
Okay. I handle sales and marketing for him. I've been doing this for almost a year and have success selling his properties in another state, but I struggle with selling the ones in Apache County.
Okay, 1 second.
Okay.
Ellen has success selling properties for the person that she works for. So if you need a virtual assistant that's successful at selling property, why not contact Ellen? She's right there on landinvestors.com.
May I continue?
This is how you use Land Investors. It's not just like a newspaper.
Okay.
It's huge resourcing.
Listen, Captain Obvious. Okay. They're in Holbrook, right by the Petrified Forest National Park. I've never been to the area.
Good for you.
I would appreciate any tips on how to sell these properties here, and I would love to know why Jack doesn't like it. Any help is appreciated. Also, I love the podcast. That's funny and cool and sweet.
If you apply the red, green, yellow test, like we talk about in the in our education programs, and you look up Apache County or Navajo County, you will see that it doesn't in any way pass the red, green, yellow test. There's 3 components to it, and it doesn't pass any of them.
And once upon a time, it did.
Yes.
So that's the point here. So there's still leftover properties. I probably have some leftover properties.
Yeah, we do.
So it doesn't mean that it's just not the best place now. There's just so many good areas, and we have so much more information and data now at our hands.
There's a lot of people that piped in on this, and
Yeah.
somebody said, well, it's a water quality, and there's all kinds of obscure things. Look, for us, it's just money.
Yeah.
There are too many properties listed there as a percentage of the universe of properties in that county. You want to have less than 1% of all the properties in the entire county listed. And the lower the better. That's one of the red, green, yellow tests. So that won't pass it at all. You could stop right there. There's a tremendous number of properties. And a lot of these desert counties, not all of them, out west, this day and age now, I think they're great practice. Learn how to buy property, buy for $1,000 or $500, and really get your feet wet on how to do deeds and talk to sellers and all of that. If that's where you are in your career, these desert counties are fantastic for that because you will buy some property. It's kind of like when I was a kid in northern Michigan, my dad took us to this little watering hole. You know, it was I learned later it was the person who owned it stocked it for fish for their own consumption, and so the fish were tiny. So I mean, you would literally drop your fishing rod in, and you know, boom, pull up a little bluegill, take it off the hook, throw it back in, do the same thing over and over. You're practicing fishing, and then we would go to the real lake and do it. So that's what a lot of these desert counties are good for.
I concur.
Today's topic: scraping data. Scraping data for mailer, pricing, the pros and the cons. This is the meat of the show.
I have two questions.
Sure.
Well, really one question. Well, kind of two questions. And I know you're going to do it anyway. Here's my notes for this. There's a right way and there's a wrong way. So will you please describe, I know you will, the right way and the wrong way?
Sure. So the right way to price your mailer data is to get to accumulate as much for sale comparison values from a pricing standpoint and sold comparison values from a pricing standpoint. So you're trying to extrapolate data from existing places on the internet to come up with a price per acre. So let's just say from 1 to 5 acres, you realize that the average of everything that's been sold recently and for sale is $500 an acre. At that point, if you just said, great, I'm going to mail it out at 10% or 20% of whatever you decide of that $500, you're going to be overpriced. There's going to be all kinds of issues there. And here's why. There's issues with the data that need to be manually addressed. You can't just press a button and review that. You have to do what I call as a test for reason, and pretty heavily. And we've been doing this for decades. Mm-hmm. And I've never sent a mailer out, and I never would without doing a pretty severe test for reason. And the test for reason essentially means this. You price your mailer, it comes out at $500 an acre. You've got 2,000 or 3,000 units that qualify. And you pick out 20, 30, 40 properties, and then you look at it as if you were going to buy it, as if somebody sent the purchase agreement back, signed it, sent it back, and said, absolutely, I want to sell my land for $4,200. Let's do it. And you look it up and you run through the due diligence. It's a dry run on a due diligence in make-believe to see if you would actually pay $4,200 for that property. And 9 times out of 10, you wouldn't, because there are manual things that have to go on at the end that need to be addressed. If you're a data person, what you're doing is looking for the exceptions. So 80, 90% of the properties are probably going to be okay, but what's throwing that number off? What's making it $500 per acre, when in reality it probably should be closer to $300 or $350? Or maybe there's lack of data. Very often you'll run one of these automated programs in a data set that, this is all data driven, that in a data set that it doesn't have enough data. I mean, can you imagine if you're a statistician doing a survey and interviewing 10 people, asking them a question, like a survey of 10 questions, asking 10 people.
Right.
Would you want to ask 10 people, or do you want to ask 20,000 people?
Tell me when I can jump in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Absolutely. Just jump in.
All right. The reason this is coming up and the reason this is important that we're covering this today is a lot of people think there's an easy button. And there's some people that are current and former Land Academy members that think, I got this, and they're coming up with some easy buttons, and it's not perfect. And I don't want anyone to go down the path thinking that this is perfect, it takes all the work out of it, I never have to think about it, and I just push a button and it goes to offers to owners and done in the mail, because you're not going to get the yield the rest of us are getting. That's the point. Like Jack was saying, there's weird outliers. If you really sit and do this, like Jack showed us a couple weeks ago on one of our member calls, how kind of the right way. That's how there's a right way and a wrong way to get data. So the right way is you can go, and he does kind of manually scrape, if you will, download the data from some land selling sites, put it into a spreadsheet, and that's when the personal stuff comes in, where Jack goes, well, that's clearly not right. When a property got transferred for $1, that's going to throw off your numbers. We do this all the time. that's going to throw off the numbers. Or this one's $100 million. Okay, that's probably not right. There's something else going on there.
They're data exceptions.
Exactly. That should be taken out. And those are not accounted for in these quote unquote, pricing easy button solutions that people are trying to create. And I love the fact, don't get me wrong, I'm all about making this easy and automating everything that you can. We both are. But there's just a few things that you need to do, and they're just not perfect. And by you putting it on what's cruise control, you might hit something. Or you're not going to get the yield that I'm getting. And I want you to be very successful.
Jill and I are, this is a huge topic right now. There are former Land Academy members that are coming out with these products, education products and pricing products and all this stuff that are tragically flawed.
Yeah.
And our response is, we will now develop the correct products, the same way that we went and developed offers to owners because we just couldn't get a mail company to understand what we do. And the same way we developed Neighbor Scoop because we just couldn't get a land-specific way to look up an APN, city county APN. So Jill doesn't know this, but we are developing our own pricing product, and it'll be released early next year.
You are going to come up with a way to automate this.
Yeah, I talked to the developer yesterday, who is a member, and he
could take them out. Is there a personal piece? Can I ask some questions?
Sure.
Is there a personal component that goes into it?
What do you mean?
Like is it gonna do what I think it's gonna do? Scrape, give you the chance to adjust, take out what you want to take out, and then continue on the process? Because I think that's what needs to happen.
There is a manual component where you have to, at the end of scraping, if assuming you have enough, there's all kinds of red lights that should go on. Developers love to just jam you down a funneled corner,
right,
without you knowing it, and say, okay, it's $500 an acre in Navajo County, Arizona, and then they want to suppress a button, like politicians. They want to tell us what to do, and press a button, and then be happy. And so no, this is going to, you will be involved, independently involved, in making decisions all along the way. And if you've got 5 or 6 pieces of data and that's all you can collect in a county, it should stop you right there. And here's why: sending mail out's expensive. We know that. Well, why would you want to waste thousands of dollars sending mail out when it's grossly overpriced? I can tell you, we have this thing, if you remember, you know this, on our Thursday call called "Would You Do This Deal?" And people are constantly saying, they fill out the thing, and Jill and I talk about it, and we say, yeah, we'd absolutely do this deal, or no, we wouldn't do this deal, and here's why. And I can tell you who used an automated pricing tool immediately, because it's $2,000 or $3,000 at the bare minimum. Too high.
Usually too high?
Yeah, you're constantly overpricing mailers. Especially if you're new.
That's the hardest.
Especially if you're new and you just don't have a knack for this stuff yet. There's nobody, I'll tell you this, no one in the advanced group and nobody who's making $100,000 a year using any pricing tools.
It's true.
So, yeah, the one that we will develop will allow the user to have complete control and stop you at certain points and ask you to test for reason.
That's good.
We won't make a crappy product.
Of course.
We'll make a product that works.
Exactly.
It's going to be in part of a dashboard that we're developing to make this a little bit easier and more organized and all in one place.
I'm so happy. Happy you could join us today. 5 days a week, you can find us right here on the Land Academy Show.
Tomorrow, the episode on the Land Academy Show is called "People Who Create Change Are Overwhelmingly More Content." You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
I'm good at creating change. You probably don't like it when I create change.
I love
There's
when
some
you create
change.
Jill and I were talking recently, actually, this morning. I'm very, very comfortable changing huge things in my life overnight, and so is she. And we've had people in our lives in the past, separately, that were just anti-change. It's hard. It's hard to explain to somebody why you think you should never work at that accounting firm again.
I understand.
Yeah, but we have all these bills.
Well, no, or it's like the goal, but I'm going to retire, or I'm going to get this raise, or I'm promised this bonus, and I'm promised one more week of vacation. I get it.
That's
I know.
the golden carrot that they promise
Golden
you.
handcuffs is what we call them.
Well, the carrot leads to the cuffs.
Exactly. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you find our content valuable, and we appreciate your support. If you haven't already, please get on over to our YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the type of content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.
We are Steven Jill.
Information
And inspiration
to buy undervalued property.